ABC Fit, called what I call ABC Fit, and it's a new paradigm. When you left, I purposely said, I'm going to fitness test you when you come back. How much anxiety did I create as you walked out the door?
Didn't even hear you.
See? Zero anxiety. Perfect. For those who feel that they're fit, what anxiety? For those that are maybe not fit, or, oh geez, oh no, maybe I got to leave, my parking's expired, I have to go pick up, whatever, right? So by myself doing that, I purposely wanted to put you in the position that we put our kids in when we say fitness testing, okay? We either give them the warning that we're going to test them, or we spring it on them when they show up. Oh, it's fitness testing today. What's worse? Okay, they're both bad. So, what I want to come up with is a different way to look at fitness testing and fitness. So, a very simple thing. Why do schools fitness test? Okay, so really, you can take fitness out and just say, why do schools test? And we look to test. Testing is a diagnostic tool. We're looking at it to see whether we can improve our overall performance. Because the idea behind the test is to find out what the students know and what we haven't taught properly and what they don't know, and try to address that. So we're looking at establishing the baseline and then improving over that baseline. In a fitness environment, we are actually looking to diagnose the deficiency or the weakness and then devise a strategy to address that and improve that. It also tells us whether our program is effective. Okay? And in order to do that, we need to gather data in order to do that. And unfortunately, in the PE world, this is the only way we have of communicating any type of student achievement. Okay? When you think about the history of fitness testing, that's the only standardized test we've ever had and only way we can communicate achievement. Other than that, it's like, well, what is it, right? So, two types of fitness testing. There's lab and field-based. The lab tests are way more accurate, okay, than a field-based test. Problem is, they're very costly. If you're a high-performance athlete, you want to go and get your lactate threshold or your VO2 max, it's you and maybe 2 or 3 clinicians or researchers. It's an inverse relationship in terms of student ratio. That in the field, there's no way you're going to have 3 to 1 student. It's 1 teacher to 30 kids, right? So we cannot replicate a lab environment in the school setting with large numbers. Yet most of the tests that we pull out to test kids are from that lab environment. And we try to assimilate that or replicate that in the field setting. And it doesn't translate properly. So field-based tests, you will probably be, some of you, very familiar with these. Canada Fitness Award, right? Award of Excellence. If you were an Award of Excellence, congratulations. All that means is genetically you matured earlier than the other kids. Okay? So that's all it's rewarding. And if you were a late maturer, you probably got the bronze or the thank you very much for showing up today badge. Okay? Especially when the darned flexed arm hang came along. So there's that one. There's the European Test of Physical Fitness, Eurofit. These are all standardized fitness tests that have been around. Their main focus has been on the left side, okay? The health-related components of fitness. And very understandably, health-related components, because if you practice those components, there's a direct correlation to improved health benefits, right? So the flashlight tends to go on cardio because it's the best bang for buck. But cardio is just one piece. There's 10 other components, but we focus on cardio. So if you reflect on what you're doing now with your class, how diverse are you focusing on the variety of components of fitness as opposed to hammering cardio, cardio, cardio? Okay? So variables, I already talked about genetics. Maturation, we saw some slides this morning about students the same age, how one can be here, one can be there, weight, height and weight, quite different. Intervention. We think, or do we think, that our PE program is actually making the difference in fitness? And I would probably say 99% of our programs are not making a difference in terms of that intervention of the student improving in fitness. If they've improved, it's probably happening outside your walls and outside the bells. Unless you're running boot camp every single day with those kids. Okay? Based on the FIT principle, it's not going to happen. Motivation. Okay? Testing is all about motivation. Doesn't matter what kind of test, whether it's a fitness test, it's a written test, it's a standardized test. If that kid is motivated to do well, they will do well. Lifestyle. Again, if the kid is active versus the Call of Duty, they're going to have that advantage. And there is a certain, the research shows there's definitely an advantage to being skilled at taking the test. So here's the critical question that I have for you. Are you fit? And then how do you know? Okay, so I do this with my kids, I do this with the teachers as my patented thumb survey. So if you are fit, you go thumbs up. If you are not fit, you go thumbs down. And if you're sort of somewhere in the middle, do that. So can I see where you are in my thumb survey? Okay. All right, now, I don't really care where you went, but what I care about is the moment I said, show the world, declare where you are, what processes, what thought processes, what questions went through your head? Compared to who? What else?
Compared to like a year ago.
Okay, compared to a year ago.
Do you mean strength or do you mean cardio?
Okay, what components? All right. Generally, it's around, you're initially going to go here, then you go, well, I used to be able to, and then the needle starts to tilt this way, and then you start talking yourself more into and then you end up here. Okay? So what we're really lacking is clear criteria, right? So what criteria did you use? ABC Fit, what I've done with that is I've defined the criteria for my school district. And so what I've looked at are 3 different things. And I call it ABC. A stands for aerobic. And what we're going to do with aerobic is look at a 4-station circuit. Okay? And B is for balance. Balance is a critical piece. It's something that how many of you teach your kids balance? Like you teach balance. Excellent. Okay? And some of you are going, what do you mean teach balance? How do you teach balance? Okay? So we'll talk about that. And then the core. Core is muscular strength, muscular endurance. Okay, so those are the components that we're looking at. ABC, I try to package it so that it's that literacy type of feel. Okay, trying to engage teachers to look at this. So we're doing what is called an ABC Fit. And the level that I'm looking at is what is called functional fitness. And functional fitness is the stuff that in the yellow that you would need to do on a daily basis. Okay, so it's a fitness level to be able to manage day-to-day activities. Okay, I have to lift this table. I have to move a chair. I've got to push something around. I've got to carry my kid. I've got to carry a bag of groceries. Functional level of fitness. So what's the strength level that I need for that? What's my movement strategies that I need for that so I do not get injured? We're not talking about high level performance, elite fitness level. Okay? So functional levels, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we're looking at here. So, why aerobic? It's really one of the best indicators of your overall fitness level. Okay? I mean, I know flexibility is very important. I know yoga is very good, but if all I do is flexibility, does that give me good health? Okay. Some of the yogis will argue, yes, it does. There's other pieces to it. Okay. I don't want to get into that debate, but really it's about balance. Okay. So aerobic is a really good indicator of overall fitness level. Very positive health-related outcomes. A lot of the strategies that are put out by health authorities, the other different sectors, especially in the medical sector, talking about getting people active, moderate to vigorous, because they're trying to target the cardiovascular endurance piece. Aerobic, the tests are easy to administer to a large group, right? I know everybody's been a part of them because you've been subjected to that through your high school or elementary fitness testing. Mile run, mile and a half run, 12-minute run, beat test, you name it, large scale, very easy to administer. And also there are lots of norms and standards that are developed. So it's easy to come up with a number, especially for us in high school, right? We need that percentage, we need that number. Why balance? Okay. You use balance on a daily basis. How many of you know elderly, it could be your parents, might be relatives, as they age, their balance is a huge piece in terms of preventing falls. When you're elderly, osteoporosis, you fall, especially when you start to break a hip, that's literally a death sentence for an elderly person. Okay, so balance is critical. We don't teach that. We need to teach it so that, okay, I stumble, I know how to regain my balance. Okay, it's simple as that. I trip over a curb, I slip on something. In your area here, slipping on ice is a huge one. Being able to reestablish proprioceptiveness and get your balance again is critical. We don't teach it, so it's really important. So there's static, which is what everybody's doing right now. You're either sitting, you're still balancing, or you're standing on 2 feet still, but it's static. Okay? How is this? It's your brain, right? Can a 6-month-old baby do the sitting part? No, because they don't have the muscular strength, but more importantly, the brain is not wired yet to be able to control the body to do that. So this is critical. It's the foundation for all our movement, everything that we do. When you distill it back to its initial form, balance is a huge part. Pick any sport, any activity. Balance is the key starting point. Okay? What is balance? It's the ability to change and control your center of mass or your center of gravity. How do you train your balance? It's very, very simple. You look at creating instability. Okay? So let's do a little practice on this. So stand up. And again, I know from Go-Go Stop earlier that everybody can balance on 2 feet, so that's no problem. Okay? So all we're going to do is change the base of support from a stable gymnastics 2-point support to a 1-point balance. So go ahead, go to a 1-point balance. I know Laura's been practicing this all day. Okay? If you had a class tomorrow and you go and try this with your kids, you're going to see a whole range of movements, especially with the younger kids. Okay? Your younger kids, if you go and try this simple single leg balance, the kids who are not reading at grade level will be all over the place. The kids who are reading at grade level will be like, this is boring. Okay? So here's a simple thing. Let's switch sides. Okay? So do you have the bilateral proficiency? Is your brain wired to be able to support you on both sides? Looks really good. Some of you, we have variations. Some of you with your feet lower. Some of the foot's a little higher. So bring the knee up, okay, without adjusting upper body, any type of sway. So you're here, body's nice and tall, up there, and stable. So here's something you can practice in class. It's a real quick brain break, is what I call an alphabet balance. If you have a word wall or a vocab wall or anything like that, have the kids, and where did I get this? From my physio. Went from sprained ankles. Okay? I spell the letters. So I use my ankle to spell the letters. So just spell future. Doesn't matter if you want to do it in caps, whether you wanted to write it, but I guarantee if you have your kids practice this in terms of learning the vocab, they are not going to forget it because they're learning it kinesthetically. The body is learning that. Okay? So that's a simple balance activity. If you want to progress that a little farther, from there, if we want to decrease the base of support, by simply going up on your tiptoe. Now go up on your tiptoe and try to hold that. And try to stabilize. So now we're incorporating a little bit of calf strength, hip flexors, core having to try to engage. Okay? So if those kids who are going, oh yeah, Mr. Young, this is a piece of cake. Okay, great. Go up on your tiptoe. Now stabilize and hold that. Okay? And again, the most ultimate challenge is, again, we'll do this just on the one leg. If you've ever been pulled over by the police, right, it's a sobriety test is to close the eyes. And what happens when you're closing the eyes is you're depriving the brain of any sensory information. So your body doesn't know where it is, the brain doesn't know where it is in space, and that's why you lose your balance. So just try balancing with your eyes closed. Just a flat foot. So right away you're going to feel your toes wiggling, squirming around, trying to support you. And that's the proprioceptors in the body, okay, trying to help stabilize you. All right, and then obviously the biggest challenge would be to go up on your tiptoe, up on your tiptoe with eyes closed and try to maintain that. Okay, and so if your kids go like this, by balance, that's not a balance. Okay, balance, you need to own that position, showing you got control. Okay, that's the balance. So by balancing, you really rewire the brain. And it's great for injury prevention. Okay. Again, I could go into a whole series with that balance. So you can sit down, or if you want to stand up, you can. Core. The last 10 years, the fitness world has really explored the value of training the core. So it's the bridge between the lower body and the upper body. So what exactly is the core? It's the muscles in your tummy, the back, and the hips, okay, basically. So why is that important? Effective force transfer, okay, whether it's here. The international track championships are on right now in Moscow. We were at dinner last night, we were watching the hammer throw, right? They're down here, like it's force transfer from the legs, rotation, etc. Okay, skillful movement all depend on that core. This movement, defensive back, turn and go. That's all core. Soccer players, hockey, any type of invasive game involves that turn and control type of movement. Okay, all depend on the core. The core is critical for maintaining spinal stability. That's what our core is for, to maintain spinal stability. It enhances the throwing, jumping, and rotary skills. It's our engine. It's the engine of our body. And what happened in the past is we used to be in machines, body weight's gone, and we're either doing this or we're doing this. Okay, we're doing this. The core's not engaged, right? So what sports is this really important to do? Or you build up the bulk, yes, but the core is not engaged. So there's a role for strength training, but again, you want to maximize your time with strength training and also train the core at the same time. So the focus was on the extremities in the past, right? Get the big guns, big tree trunks, but where do the injuries occur? Here. So why the paradigm shift? How many of you loved your fitness testing experience? Okay, right? Not too many. So this is why we need to have a paradigm shift. Fitness testing is antithetical to the goal of promoting physical activity. Why do we fitness test? Because we want kids to be enjoying being physically active or exercising or training or whatever. We've turned generations off with just that stupid Canada fitness test. We have, and it might even be leaders now who have had negative experiences there coming back and saying, we don't want that anymore. So that's why when you hear fitness testing, it's like, ugh. Okay? And we need to make that change. Kids aren't small adults. The tests are designed in an adult population. They're not designed for kids. How do we make them appropriate? How do you make them efficient? In a class setting, in a school, the field setting, how do you make it efficient? Right? You remember flexed arm hang? Okay, Dell, your turn. Dell's on there for 25 minutes. Okay, Glenn, your turn. Okay, next. Right? And everybody's watching. How many hours were wasted fitness testing for those badges? We need to look at the functional level of fitness. We want criterion reference standards. We don't want to go to norms. Okay, so we want to have criterion reference standards. So I'm going to show you all of these in a second. And the biggest thing, fitness testing needs to be safe. All the tests, or the majority of the tests that we do with kids, are maximal. We're asking them to go to exertion. It's an untrained population. If you go to a gym or a fitness center, the first thing they do is they sit down with you and they say, welcome to blah place, blah gym. Why are you here? What's your goal? What would you like to do? They don't say, okay, we're going to put you through the 12-minute run or the beep test. We're going to have you go bench press to see what your max is. That's what we do with our kids on a daily basis in every single program in this country and in the States too. Okay? We go through maximal testing on an untrained population. It's not safe. That doesn't promote the learning. It does not promote learning. So, and it definitely doesn't promote the positive attitudes because we didn't have that here. And this is the norm, because with my PE, when I was teaching at UBC with the PE teachers pre-service, I'd ask them the same question, same response. And these are the jocks and jockettes, same thing. We hate fitness testing. So it's not promoting positive attitudes. This is research that I've, sort of a meta-analysis of research. I'm just going to kind of throw them up here. This is not literally rocket science. It's common sense, okay? Common sense. Intrinsic motivation increased with positive feedback after the test. How many times when you did the test, you're like, okay, how did I do? How did I do? Well, it's a big secret. Teacher never told you. Okay? So this is all important. Kale and Harris out of Loughborough University in England have really done good research around, they've done extensive research around children's fitness testing. So if you get a chance to look up their stuff, it's very good. Overemphasis on the product, on the fitness level and the performance, rather than the process, okay, which is the activity behavior. That's really what we want to try to focus on. More research, Canadian, Doherty and Bell, okay. This is not a surprise. There's George Graham stuff that Marina worked with. This is not new, right? We see the results of this, but we continue to do the same old thing. So again, from Kale and Harris, recommendations. Again, common sense. It's funny how we pay researchers, I'm looking at Marina because she was a researcher, to tell us the obvious. We spend millions of dollars for them to tell us, yeah, don't do that. It's bad for them. So here's the rubrics, okay? So aerobic fitness. So in aerobic fitness, what I'm looking for, so my 4 levels in the scale are, again, emerging, developing, acquired, and accomplished, okay? So we used to have not yet within expectations, minimally meets, fully meets, and exceeds. I'm not sure what Alberta has, but I did not like that language because it was very, very negative, and there were gaps. So here, this is a little better in terms of developmental characteristics. So aerobic, the goal is for a grade, in BC, our elementary system is K to 7. And then 8 to 10 is junior, or 8 to 12 is, senior, is high school. Okay, so all I did was very scientifically, in quotation marks, took the Cooper 12-minute test. And I said, for us, PE is mandatory to grade 10. So I said, if grade 10 is our last point for kids, can they do the 12-minute run? Or can they do, not 12-minute run, sorry, can they do something aerobically for 12 minutes? That was the exit point. All I did was I went 1 minute back per grade level. And because grade 7 and 8 is our separation, grade 7 and grade 8 kind of mirror the same goal. So grade 7 is 10 minutes, grade 6 would be 9 minutes, grade 5 would be 8, etc. I only go to grade 4, because for K to 3, there's no point. Why do you want to assess their fitness level at grade 3? In fact, you're trying to get them to not move at those levels. So we don't want to test that, okay? You can do it. You can do it for them as an informational piece, as an assessment for learning piece, but not for an assessment of learning. So, sorry, back here. So the rubric is simply this. You are required, if you can engage in vigorous activity in the circuit for the, we'll say for us, we'll do the grade 7 for 10 minutes, okay? And I'll go through what the criteria is for that, and I'll show you what the stations are. Okay, so it's a 4-station circuit. If you use 2 to 3 rest intervals, then you're going to be in developing. And if you use more than 3 rest intervals, you're in emerging. If you can go past the standard and go 2 minutes past the standard, you're an accomplished. And I picked 2 minutes because if the kid can go 2 minutes, they're probably going to be able to go 3 or 5 or 7. And you don't need to see that your little superstar soccer player can go 25 minutes while everybody else is sitting down and they're totally like bored. So there's a definitive start time and a definitive end time. So everybody starts at the same time, everybody finishes at the same time. No one is watching each other, as in some of the other tests. Everybody is doing their own thing at the same time. And I'll show you an example of what that looks like with a class. Balance. Balance, we use the lateral bound. And so I used to use the stork test. We used to do a tree pose as the test for balance. And then a buddy of mine, Dean Creelars in Manitoba, who designed the play tools, we were talking about, and he says, what kind of correlation is there in the real world if I can do this? Big deal. How does this affect when I'm out playing sport or hiking or doing whatever? Okay, and I said, yeah, Dean, you're right. So we came up with another activity called the lateral bound. And again, physios will, this is where I've got it from, lateral bound. So you're starting here, you're coming across and back and landing for position, okay? And looking for this, what's called the triple flexion. So I'm out, back, and trying to hold, okay? So we'll try that one. So this is a much harder one. I achieve a soft balance landing and minor adjustments. Okay, that's minor adjustments. My body, if I adjust my foot or lower body, I'm swaying, etc., that's developing. I can't bound the distance. I'm really doing this to try to get there. That's the emerging. And if I go across and I'm back, as I think I did in the first one, in this position, I nail it. The judges give me my 10 out of 10. That's the accomplished. Okay? And then the plank. Best one for the core. Okay? So I use the low elbow bridge, but certainly the high push-up position, okay, is totally fine. Front support from gymnastics, but this is more challenging. We do 2 trials of 60 seconds. You are required, if you can do this, 60 seconds, you nail it. Okay? Great, you're required. Take a quick rest, 60 seconds again, you're accomplished. Awesome, great core. I call it, from the kids, I tell them that's superhero status. If I use 1 rest interval, this is where you get that discussion on your staff. Well, what is a rest interval? Certainly a break in form. So when the kids, can you see me up here if I'm on here? When the kids go like this, or they'll go like that, okay? They're not engaging core. So they've got to get into this position. So if they have to keep moving like that, you can decide whether that's allowable or not. The older the kids are, I would say no. I wouldn't allow that. But with your younger kids, go for it. Let them try it.
60 seconds for the 10 and 40, 90 seconds.
I wanted to keep it real simple, 60 seconds, all the way through. Okay? And if I use more than one rest interval, that's the emerging. Okay, so I've been piloting this now in my district for about 4 or 5 years, and I've been able to aggregate some data to be able to respond to the question, are kids fit in my district? And are they improving? And so my data shows that if the school teaches it, they baseline it, and then they test again, there is an improvement. If they don't, it doesn't happen. All right? So that's going to be our test. So let's start off very simply. Come on, stand up. And I'm going to take you through the lateral bound first. Okay, so if you have knee issues, sandals, be very careful. Okay. Generally, in the elementary gym has the 3 badminton courts. And all I do is, again, for simplicity's sake, take the alleyway at the end of the badminton court, and that's the distance they have to bound. That's about 28 to 30 inches. I forget the distance, or 70-something centimeters. You could use the outside white line here, or outside brown line here, and brown line here. And again, as you found with balancing, you're going to have a dominant or smart side, and you're going to have a non-dominant or dumb side. So you want to figure out when you test which side on your smart side. Okay, so what I would suggest initially, if you want to use sort of the flooring colors, start inside the brown and start narrow. Okay, so the idea is to bound across, touch, and explosively come back. So it's not this. It's not here, take some time and come back. It's there, back, and hold. And here, when you hold, you are holding and owning it. It's not this. I'm not looking for this. That's not showing me that you have balance. That's showing me you can lateral bound. Okay, it's here and hold. All right? So practice that. One side is going to be strong. One side is going to be not so strong. So I'm going to use this as a little bit of a warm-up. And as you're feeling more comfortable, I want you to increase the width of the distance you're bounding. Okay, so for the ABC fit, I simply use that space, okay? Regardless of the height difference. The taller the kid, the easier it is, that shorter distance. The smaller the kid, the harder it is, okay? The true test, and Dean verifies this with me, is to actually go, if you spread your arms out and you go fingers down, that's the distance you're supposed to bound for your height. Okay? That's the distance you're supposed to bound for your height. So, please do not attempt this yet. Okay? I don't want any injuries. Try just a little bit wider than you've been going, because I want you to find sort of what your max is. If you're going like this and it's super easy, you're not testing yourself. Okay? Part of the test is to push yourself to a challenge, but a challenge without being defeated. Okay? It's a challenge to overcome, not a challenge to be defeated. And that's what sometimes I think the philosophy of what we do with fitness testing is we want to crush those kids. We don't want to do that. Okay? So, try to maybe do this with a partner. Have them kind of cite what kind of a distance you need to go, and then just attempt. And you should have, again, experimented with going to your right or going to your left. So establishing your dominant side. Okay, go. Okay, so just a sec. Okay, so here's the rubric for the lateral bound. What I like about the rubrics, the way I've developed them, it can be a self-assessment tool. So that's what you're going to use this for right now. You're going to self-assess yourself. Self-assess yourself, right? You're going to self-assess. So you're going to pick your distance, you're going to try the bound, and you're going to look at acquired, look at what the criteria is, go across, okay, try to hold that. Again, it's a quick and back and holding, so I lost my balance there. Okay, there, back and hold, so there is an adjustment, so that's acquired. Okay, because there is an adjustment there. It's not, there's no delay there. It's a quick touch and back over. There was a question here?
What about consistency? So if you do it one time perfectly, you're accomplished? Or if you do it 10 times perfectly, you're...
There's 3 trials. There's 3 trials. I'll show that on the form. Okay?
That's what the question is.
Okay. So when we actually get to the test, I'll show you. I just want you to practice, be familiar with this before we get to the test. So try that a little bit more. Okay, so again, to get the accomplished, that triple flexion is to flex the ankle, knees, and hips. So as I land, I'm getting into this position here. So it's like a single leg squat. Okay, so when you lower your center of gravity, that's when you're going to get more balance. Okay, so I'm over a bound, I get down low, that's how I'm going to get my balance. If I stay up high, I'm going to be way more unstable. Okay? Okay, so that's the balance, that's the lateral bound. All right? The next one we're going to go on is the plank. So I apologize that we don't have mats here, but if you just want to come in a little closer, I'm going to show you how to establish the position with the kids on this. So I start the kids in what I call a tabletop position. And so my hands are right under my shoulders, my knees are right under my hips. And my hands and my knees are hip width and shoulder width apart. Okay, when you ask kids to do push-ups, invariably you get this position, the hands way out here. You rarely get the kids with their hands in this position in here and doing a strict military style push-up with the triceps in rather than the hands out here, the elbows flare up, they're going that way. Okay, so we want to keep this position here in terms of our base of support. My head remains in what's called a neutral position, which is here in line with my spine, as opposed to kicking up here and dropping down there. Okay, so as you stand and your head looks straight ahead, that's a neutral position. So we want to maintain that spinal alignment in this position here. Okay, so I'm here. If you want to practice this initially, just simply now have the kids extend one toe out and then the other toe out. And when they extend the one toe out, what I'm looking for again is a levelness in the hips and a levelness in the shoulders. And then when I extend the other leg out, I maintain that level. There's no sagging and there's no bridging. Okay? Because if I sag, that's in essence me walking around like this with a sway back. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on my low back. We don't want that. And then we don't walk like this until we're like 85. Right? So we don't want that. So your starting point, tabletop, leg, and hold. Can they hold that for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, etc. So there's a whole series of activities I can give you to do with that, just so I'm working on that. So then, from there, we're now going to switch. Elbow replaces the hands, so the elbows are right under the shoulders. Extend a toe, and go. Hands are not here, that's cheating. Now I've established a tripod. Hands are here, they're separated. Twiddle your thumbs, whatever you want, but not together. Okay? So try that. Okay, so stop for a sec. Now, Again, I'll go back to that analogy in the last session about golf. What you think you're doing with a straight body position versus what you are actually doing are two complete different dimensions. So I want you to go back to work with a partner, okay? One partner is going to coach you, and they're going to watch for that position. So Del, go ahead. You're going to go elbows, toes. Great, okay? And yeah, perfect. And he's in the right position. So I can tap him, and then we can switch, and he can watch me. So that's what I want you to do right now is with your partner, is establish that proper position. Because generally, if you think you're in the proper position and you've sagged, you haven't engaged your core. Okay? So you need to engage and go there. And the other little piece there is generally when the kids do that, their scapula is retract. And you can see the scapula, we want that there. Okay? So when they're in this plank position, they sag like that. That's ideally, no, it's there. Okay, so that's a little finer point. But if they, don't worry about that. If they can hold that. Your older kids, look for the protraction rather than the retraction of the scapula. Okay, so do this with your partner, go. So, we're gonna start our fitness test. Here's how we're gonna do this. Your partner, your buddy is going to assess you. Okay, so for the core, the rubric was simply this. 60 seconds from when we start the clock, 60 seconds, and you're in that position. There's, you determine, but communicate this expectation with your partner, what the amount of sway that you're going to allow, okay? A rest interval is they actually drop, okay? Or they are in the bridge position, or they're in the sway or the sag position, okay? So if they're there and they kind of just adjust like that again, if you want to be a hard ass, you can. It's up to you to determine what you want to do. Okay, remember they're going to reciprocate this with you, okay? So I'm going to put the timer on here. And this is anybody use this timer? It's called Tabata Pro. Fantastic timer, okay? It has 3 different timers. It's I think $2.99 or something like that. It's a fantastic app. Anyways, what I'm going to do on here is put the 1 minute, and when I say go, I'll start the clock. You're going to cue your partner. So you're going to start them in tabletop, have them go elbows, okay, and in this position 1 toe, and then from there we're all ready. Then we're just going to go other toe and start, okay? And so you're going to time them for 1 minute, or the timer will go for 1 minute. So we're starting our fitness assessment right now. Here we go. Okay, so ready. Here we go.
Yeah. Our arrow, which makes it harder. You want to widen your feet again?
Down just a bit, Bride. Down, 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 down. Yep. That's good. Just a little bit of scaps there, so well, lots of scapular retraction there. You see that? Yeah. See? So as they tire, they're going to start the bridge. Drop the hips down. Drop the hips down. Okay, now quickly give them feedback on what you saw and how you would rate them. They're going to go again. Here we go. Same person. Ready. It's the same person, same person. Same person is going again. You're doing 2 in a row. Ready? Here we go. So if your partner says you did not move, you made the 60 seconds, you are acquired. If you got acquired the first time, you are now going for superhero status, which is the accomplished. If you didn't get it the first time, you can still get acquired. So you just have to get it 1 out of the 2 times. Yeah. More. See, if you come back and step from the side, you're seeing a little bit of a bridge, right? His hip's got to drop down about 3-4 inches. You see the difference? Yeah. Now doing the core, you need to engage. So you got to squeeze the abs, tighten up the buttocks. And she's acquired. Good. Okay, switch around. Payback. Here we go, ready? 1 leg out. And go. Oh. I turned all the sounds off of this. That's why it's not even beeping. Actually, there is music on there. Hips can go down just a bit. Yep. So as you're observing your partner, look for this gap. Be a little finer. Look for the scaps coming up. If the scaps are coming up, they've retracted. Their chest has dropped down. The chest has to come away from the floor. So chest up forward. Yeah, see that?
Great. Good job.
That's what we get muscle.
See how our hips have dropped? They've dropped quite a lot. Right?
Would you stop? Or?
No, you let her go. Okay. Give them feedback. Feedback.
You were shaking. Yeah, you started shaking.
Okay, get ready. Here we go again.
There we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
That's about shoulder width there.
Hip width, hip width, hip width. Yeah. No wider than hip width. The misfit queen, huh? Yeah, so you can see scaps come up
So I
here.
just touched there. So what does she have to do?
She just has to get her chest, push her chest up away from the floor.
Chest, because I'm seeing your bones here.
That's minute, but that's good.
This is an example of a task, and the challenge is the timing.
Oh, bring that up.
10 seconds. Trying to look like you're in pain. Good job. It's there. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Superhero!
Okay. High five your partner. Okay. Now, in terms of intensity level, you weren't huffing and puffing. Maybe you were. No, you're not. I don't hear huffing and puffing. Okay, but you're probably feeling warmer for sure. Okay, so that's a moderate level of intensity. Okay, that's a moderate level of intensity. All right, you should be a little warmed up now. We're not going to go to the lateral bound. Okay, so 2 options. You can either go to keep it real simple, I can't touch any of the colored area here, there, and back, and I need to nail that. Okay, so I do that 3 times. I got to hot swap it. So 3 times. So what I do is the first time I do that, if I go across and I'm kind of wobbling around, that's my emerging. I go across, slight one type small adjustment. That's developing. Just really an upper body. That's acquired. That's my gold medal. Okay? You get three trials. The participant determines on, you usually would pick your strongest side. 3 trials, and I take my best, or not my best, my best 2 out of 3. Okay? My best 2 out of 3. And that's your score. Okay? Till you can demonstrate your control, usually to about a count of 5. Okay? So when people can't balance, they just change the position and they go again. You need to own that position. So you're posing. Okay, so you got to be able to show the control. Poise and confidence. I think that was this morning, right? You're going to, I'll put the rubric, put the rubric back up. Your partner gets 3 trials. Okay, you'll assess them, tell them feedback after each one. Remember, we want feedback after each one, and then switch around and test. Okay, hopefully we can do that inside 5 minutes. And then I want to move to the aerobic. Superhero, all right.
Okay, one more. Let's see what that means.
See, that distance is really too close for you.
Yeah.
Because it's not a challenge. Because you're going back and you could tell it's not a challenge, right? So you just want to go a little bit farther. But pick whatever distance for yourself right now. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it's excellent. It's a lot better than the old Testament.
Can you indicate by fingers 1, 2, 3 whether you need 3 means you need 3 minutes, or 1 mean you need 1, or a fist means we're done? Oh, you're awesome. Okay, come on back down around here. We're going to conclude then with the aerobic. All right, so the aerobic. Normally what I use are agility ladders. So again, if you picture a badminton court, and I can make this available for you, so don't worry about pictures. I can give you the whole thing. Okay? So here's your badminton court. Okay? So I have 3 ladders in each, like 1 ladder on each of the badminton alleys, the doubles alley, and then 1 ladder coming up the middle. Okay? So there's 3 ladders there. Then where the balls are on the cones, that's the circles. But I wouldn't use the WAS markers. I would use a frisbee or a disc. Then the ball doesn't roll out. Here the ball, it tends to drop off and stuff. So use a disc or a frisbee there. And then the 2 cones are over there, probably about the length of a Cosm hockey stick is your distance there. And then at the end is just the end line of the badminton court. So there's 4 stations. There's 1 student at each station. So on 1 court, I can get 12 kids. Okay, so I can get 36 kids in a full gym. And everybody's going at the same time. Okay? And here's how the stations work. So if you want to come down to the ladder, so here's our makeshift agility ladder. It's normally longer. There would be normally like 10 to 12 rungs, but we'll make do with the 6 here. Okay, so 2 things you can do. If you have ladders in your school, great. And you can get them very cheap. Some are like $30, but some are also like $90, $100. So If you have the ladders, great. If you don't have the ladders, just use the badminton alley. Okay, so I'll pretend this is the alley, and all I'm doing is I'm standing where there's no lines, no lines, lines, and I go that way. Okay? And all I'm looking for is that basic hopscotch or 2 foot in, 2 foot out jumping pattern. So here, okay, going through each rung to the end, turn around, and come back. Okay, and I keep going. And I keep doing that for 30 seconds. So aerobic, what am I testing for? I'm trying to see, ultimately, if you get tired. So what would be some indications that I can observe or other people can observe that you're getting tired? What are we going to see?
Slow down. Steps.
Okay, let's back up. Huffing and puffing, is that indicating that you're tired? No. A rest. What would be a rest? Stopping? Okay. Slowing down would be another one. Losing your technique, tripping. Okay, tripping over the rungs, missing rungs, so losing your technique. So those would be the 3 really observable things. But definitely slowing down, definitely stopping would be the 2. And another one would be walking. Okay, question?
How do you know what pace?
Great question. Everybody's different. So
Really,
ideally,
you could go really slow and get a good mark.
well, try that. The nature of the way I've got the activity set up, the minimal that you would be at would be moderate. The minimal. Okay? By the nature of what we're doing here, you'll see. You can't be at light. You definitely cannot be at light. Okay? That's where you as the teacher comes in and you would be talking to your kids. And so moderate, you're feeling warmer. So you could use the sing test and talk test. On level 1, on light physical activity, you can sing. Okay? So if you can sing, you're really not at a high intensity level. Level 2, you can talk. Okay? That's the moderate. Level 3, you can talk, but it is in broken phrases. Okay? So it's like, geez, I wish Tillman kept Ricky Ray instead of, okay? So that's your vigorous. Level 4, hard, you can't talk. Okay? But you could blow out, you couldn't blow out candles on a cake. So if I had cake here, I said, happy birthday. Okay, whether there's 10, 20, or 50 candles, you couldn't blow any of them out because you're breathing so hard. That's hard. And level 5, difficult, you feel like throwing up. Okay, you're just going so hard, you're close to red line, not fun. Okay? So we don't want those. And that's where the old fitness testing paradigms drove you to the level 5. And is it a wonder, I mean, athletes that train don't want to train there. Professional athletes who get paid multi-million dollars don't want to train there, but they have to. And we're expecting untrained kids, yeah, I want you, beep test, go. Okay, so we got to dial it down. Get them into that vigorous. That's what we want, is vigorous intensity level. And this will get you that. So you should be huffing and puffing, okay, for sure. All right, so you start, so one person is here, they go up and back on the ladder continuously for 30 seconds. When you hear the beep, you're going to switch. Okay, so then you move to the next station. The next station is basically like a burpee, except we've got the ball. So the technique is a squat, touch, baby jump, okay? Here. Do not try to go like this. You are not going to be able to sustain that, okay? 30 seconds. All right, so from here, the squat, as opposed to, you're going to see technique, getting tired, they're going to go like this. Okay, so this is not good for my low back. I've got to go here, up, here, up. So look straight ahead. Okay, don't look down like this. All right, so that's the squat. Coming over here to figure 8. Not the figure 8 that we did earlier. This one, I'm facing straight forward. This is a little bit of agility and movement. Okay, so I'm going around the cone, facing forward, here, here, here. Okay, so this is my figure 8 movement. Getting tired, I hit the cones, etc. Last one on the end, I call scissors. I've got a stride. I switch, 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 switch. Keep going. Okay? 30 seconds. I go all the way back down to the end, and I keep going. Okay, 30 seconds, buzz. I go over here. 30 seconds later, buzz. Go right into here, and I start right away. I'm not waiting for anything. Buzz. Go over here. Buzz. Getting tired. You're going to see this. But you're going to see this. Okay? So you'll see the strategies that people use to sneak in that rest. Okay, and slow down. Your kids will do this. They'll go buzz. They go like this. They'll burn out on the first rep. They'll come through the second time and they'll go. They'll be like that. It's pacing themselves. So they got to learn to pace. Okay? So let's try again.
How many times are we?
We're going to go for 10 minutes. Okay? 30 seconds every station. If you don't want to do it, observe. Okay? You don't want to do it, observe. Right?
How do you determine the score or the rate?
Okay, so here is the rubric. 10 minutes continuously, because that's the key. Continuously for 10 minutes without any of those rest intervals. Okay? If I take 2 to 3 rest intervals, I'm at developing. If I take more than 3 rest intervals, I'm emerging. If I can go 12 minutes, I'm superhero. So the way we start this, one person at the ladder, one person at the ball, one person at the figure 8, one person down at the end on the scissors. Now, if you aren't doing it, I definitely want you to observe. If you do want to do it, we'll just make up a circuit here. Because the whole idea is being able to adapt this to whatever environments you have in your gym. Do we need another one here? So here, imaginary, hopscotch in, okay? Another ball here, so another person can go here. And another person can go here with the figure 8. And another person go there with the scissors. Yeah. Okay, so I'll do this just as I do this with the class. When you hear the buzzer, point to the direction you're going to change to. To point to the station you go to. So you stay in your line. Anybody in this line, you don't switch lines. You just station 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 goes to 1. You stay in this whole line the whole time. Okay? Questions?
Show us the ball thing one more time.
Squat. This one's a little harder. Squat. Okay? Joyce? We'll have music. Hopefully have music. Okay?
The amount of anaerobic stuff goes on so bad.
Oops. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So that was 4 minutes. Okay? Can everybody blow out a candle? Right? So you're not at level 4. If can't, you could blow it. You can. Okay? No one's at level 4. Okay? You're at least huffing and puffing, or you're in the moderate. There's no way you could have done that in the light. And if you were, I walked around and kind of prompted you to kick it up a bit. And that's what you'd have to do. So the nature of those activities gets your body to at least a moderate or a vigorous level. So that was only 4 minutes. And for adults, we should be at least 12. Okay? So that gives you an idea of your cardio level. And that's at vigorous. That's it. When you hear, now you hear moderate to vigorous PA, this is what we're talking about. Vigorous PA, physical activity. Okay? So come on back. If you don't mind bringing all the stuff back as well.
When you're first trying out these kinds of activities with your students, be aware that some children might not be interpreting the physiological changes that are occurring in their body in a positive way. There might be some kids who might not be facing themselves correctly or trying to push themselves to work more accurately because they are afraid that their heart is beating fast. Okay, so you have to tell them that, you know, doing exercise and feeding the heart rate is something good. So the younger who are working with kids, be aware that sometimes the kids are very young scientists, they're interested how the body is working, so it's important that they learn how to interpret physiological changes in a positive way. Otherwise, they're going to be scared of themselves along with the first infections.
Thanks, Marina. So if you
Question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is there a version of this that incorporates more upper body? This is pretty much all legs and cardio.
Because it's a cardiovascular test.
There's nothing that works the upper body. My legs are getting tired, but is there anything for like arms
That is
and
part of
back and
school.
stuff like that?
Sorry?
When you're doing the plank, you're working on those.
No, I mean like in this sort of setup.
Well, we design aerobic, something aerobic that you could do.
Yeah, you could do
uses your arms
squats.
instead of your legs.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
To balance it?
Or you could maybe do a medicine ball.
Well, when you're doing the burpees, some burpees incorporate push-ups. Burpees is going to push-ups.
Well, yeah, that's what I did.
When you start to bring in the upper body as well as then you're involving more muscle groups, which is going to be more taxing on the CV system. So you could, but again, it gets more complicated to observe. So that's the other piece is for the people that were sitting on the side, if you have to observe that, how challenging was it to observe a court of people, right? To be able to monitor, okay, who is slowing down, who's stopping, who's walking. Okay, you can see the stops, but who's walking, who's slowing down. All right, so that's the challenge. So that's kind of the balance of balancing out with upper body, lower body versus the practical nature of actually observing the assessment. Okay, so one last thing. Data. So I designed this fitness assessment to be able to, my superintendent came to me one day and asked me, are our kids fit? I couldn't answer that. And so I designed this test procedure or this assessment tool to be able to respond to that. And so on our school district, we have what's called the RAD, a Reading Assessment Survey. We have impromptu writing, and teachers from grade 1 to 10 put in the district testing to get their results. So I've been able to add the ABC Fit test on there as well. And this allows me to aggregate data. So if I'm looking for, I really look for class level reports. I can pull back information from, let's say, 2009, 2010. I can look at pre versus post or pre-post separately. I can look at all the different grades by grade, or I can look at all grades. I can look by gender. I can aggregate by each of the aspects, aerobic, balance, or core. And I can look at the status. I want to see all the kids in emerging, all the females emerging in grade 4. Boom, I can bring that up. Okay, so it's really powerful. This is done through UBC, and here's an example of the data that comes up. And what's really telling is the graph, where no, that's not showing it there. The emerging. So if we look at aerobic testing, and it's hard to see. That better? Okay, so aerobic testing, 2009, 2010, 1,100 kids were tested in the pre-test. 44% of those kids were in the emerging. We tested again, 29% were in the emerging. So there was some shift moving away for the schools that did something with that. Same thing with the lateral bound, same thing with the plank. The big piece of information we found is that with the plank, the kids can do it, they just have to practice it. But they are able to do that. Huge increases in performance from not being able to do it. I guarantee, like if you struggled with it today, and it was like you were like, oh man, this is killing me, and you're shaking. If you did 30 seconds to 45 seconds or 2 commercials of planks daily, piece of cake by the end of the week. Piece of cake, okay? So this is the data piece that can help drive some of the direction that you want to go with. Yeah.
How long was it between pre and post testing, and what did people do during that time?
Schools that what I've recommended to the schools to pre-post, pre in the fall, post in the spring. So time enough for an intervention to occur. Yeah.
And then in brackets, I take it's the number.
Number of classes.
So when you're accomplished under the aerobic, you had 139 do the pre, but only 42 kids did the post.
Right. So not all the schools want to do this because it's pretty, for the school it's a labor-intensive day for them to do it.
Right.
But what it looks like with a class, so here's the kids to analyze. Really powerful. They're doing this. As they're doing this, I can stop it. So this is the feedback that I do with the kids. You know, so this student here, I don't know her name, but I can just tell her, I really like your form. It's a nice straight line here. Okay, keep going. You can peel that off. The girl in the green back here, you can see how much she has sagged, her body position there. This student up here looks really good, nice and straight. So I give them this feedback right after the first trial. Again, over here, you can see the student's really down. You can see the scap really retracted up here. Okay, so this feedback tool, Coach's Eye, it's a fantastic app. You show the kids instantaneously the next trial, 100% improvement in form. They may not have the endurance to pull it off, but form, technique, boy, they got it. Okay. In between trials. Yeah, in between trials. So that's there. And then here's the lateral bound. Same idea. Okay, see, so those are really tough because they're really pausing on that one side. And then the aerobic, this is what it looks like. All at the same time. Whistle goes as they change. Okay, so every kid is active. There's no one spectating. And if they can't continue anymore, they just slow down. You just tell them slow down. Just do the whole time frame. So there's no one opting out. They're there. They're doing something for the 10 minutes or the 12 minutes or whatever grade level the time frame is. Okay.